Hello. Hi, guys. Technology and I are really not friends and we really don't get along very well. I was just sitting here staring at my screen, being like, wow, it's really dark. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with my lighting because this setup is so dark. And then I realized that my laptop brightness was like all the way down. And the reason why it was so dark is because the brightness was like cranked down. And that took me like 5 minutes of like playing with the light that I have in front of me and being like, wow, this really needs to be like a lot stronger. So yeah, that's me. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Yana. Hi, HD. Hi, Joe. Also, thank you for the PayPal, Joe. Hi, Vilma. Um, Hi, Juju. So, hi, Ozzy. Hi, Juju. Hi, Scooter. Hi, Demon Orb. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, John. Hi, Ed. I think that's it. Hi, Prexis. Hi, Odin. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. What else? Oh, I recorded an interview yesterday that I cannot wait to. So I'm not sure. Hi, Maria. Hi, Nick. Hi, Pietro. Hi, Grumpy. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Niels. Oh my God. So I recorded an interview that hi Morgana Cat. Oh my god. So I recorded an interview yesterday with the person who launched oh crap, no, I don't have them anymore. Fuck. I shipped the dog tags. I was gonna show you the dog tags because they're so nice. And they're like much nicer than any dog tags you've ever seen before. And I and I and I wanted to show them to you today, but I already sent them to my friend for whom I ordered them. I also ordered another set of dog tags for my classmate. And honestly, I will be ordering those for all of my friends that are at the front because I think they're so cool and they're like really nice. And it's really good to have sort of like, your blood type written on you. Um, I think I wanted to show them to you, and I'm like, crap, but I already sent them off. But so I recorded the interview with the guy who launched this company that makes these dog tags, and it is in Ukrainian, and I'm going to be airing it both in Ukrainian and with English dubbing. I have a friend who I think will be happy to do the voiceover, but because it's going to be in the form of a podcast on the press lounge, it's also going to be on YouTube, but it's going to come out as a podcast as well. I'm not quite sure how to approach the dubbing situation. I think that in the beginning of the podcast, after the introduction, I will say that this has been this has been translated to match the original responses as best as possible, and it's voiced over by such and such person. And if you'd like to listen to the interview in the original, there will be a link to the Ukrainian to the Ukrainian version of the interview. Because like dubbing on YouTube is fine when it's like in a video format, right? But dubbing on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts is really it's a weird sort of territory because you don't see the person and you just like kind of like voice over everything that they said because it has to be translated. And on YouTube you can also put subtitles or like captions or something like that. Although I do find dubbing better because if you're doing something like washing the dishes and you're just like listening to the interview, you're not going to be like, way less people are going to be able to watch the interview or listen to the interview if it's just going to have subtitles but not like a voiceover. Oh, thank you, Ozzy. That's very sweet. Thank you very much. And Heroyam Slava. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to try to figure it out. And I think that the interview will come out in like a week and a half or 2 weeks. It really depends on how fast my friend can voice it over. And I will be translating the interview tomorrow. So I will try to do it as soon as possible on my part. I also have an idea. Like, I wonder if you guys would be interested in watching like not a tac med course, but so I met this person who is a combat medic, and their story is very interesting, and I was like curious I wanted to record sort of like a little TACMED slash interview episode with them, and I was wondering if you'd be like interested in it. So it would be like basics of tactical medicine and an interview about like their story and like the past 2 years of their life in Ukraine. So yeah, this is where I'm waiting for your responses. Mm, I'm interested. I've been following a few medics. Yes. Good morning from Australia. Hi, K-Bell. The real Dave. Hi. Oh yeah. Hello, just got here. Did I miss anything? Well, not a lot, but like yeah. Oh, great idea. Okay, so that's cool. I will approach them about it tomorrow because I was like thinking honestly, my apartment is like I have this whole area here where there is like not much. well, there. Mm? Sorry. Well, where there is a lot of empty space, so I could like set up cameras and do like a couple of different angles and just have that. So yeah, if I were to do that interview, it would be on YouTube. Oh, hi, Katarina. And hi from North Carolina. Bless you. Thank you. Heroyam Slava Midnight Man. Um, bless you. Thank you, you guys. Gesundheit. Vielen Dank. Um, hello, kids. Hi. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so interestingly, so in German, Gesundheit is basically like health to you, and in Ukrainian, we also say health to you. And it's interesting that in English it's bless you because it's much more deified, and in Ukrainian it's just kind of like you know more so like, oh hey, be healthy, rather health to you. Will you ever move to Mississippi? I never I never thought about it. I never planned on moving to Mississippi. I don't necessarily see why I would move to Mississippi. Um, it's out of nowhere, really. Thank you, Martin, and hi, Smiley. Oh my gosh, hi everybody. So good to see everyone. We use the German Gesundheit in Dutch too. Yeah, so Dutch and German have a lot of similarities. So actually, when I was what's interesting is a lot of people, especially in the beginning of the full scale invasion and today, still keep saying that Russian and Ukrainian are so similar. And it's like Russian and Ukrainian have 62% syntactical similarity. Spanish and Italian have 80%, and Dutch and German have 82% syntactical similarity. So that's very interesting. Um, I my only like close encounter with Dutch in terms of like thinking of what things mean and stuff like that was we had a history class in college that I took, and my professor was German, and he was Roosevelt is actually a Roosevelt, right? And it's a Dutch last name. And he was like, "Oh, if someone can guess what that means in Dutch, I'll give you extra credit." And because I speak German, and it's like a Roosevelt, like the world of roses, roses world, right? Like I was the only person who got that, and I got the extra credit, and I was like, Mm. But also the professor was German, so to be fair, like I had an unfair advantage because he already like sort of liked me because I spoke his native language, and he gave me a book about Roosevelt in German. I can't say I read that because like I think history books in German are a lot, but hi Jean, hi Jackie, hi Carlos. As someone who can speak both Ukrainian and Russian, they're not similar at all. Russian is hard. I mean, like Ukrainian is hard too, to be fair. Hi Martin, hi Sally. Wait, with every G an angel is born. That's so funny. I'm English, and after I sneeze, after sneeze, say core core blimey governor. Like what? Why do I feel like that's some slur that I just said? Hi, Gorilla Joe. Yeah. So, anyways, good to see everyone. I sorry I didn't do a live yesterday. As I said, I will be listening to my body these next like week or two, and I will be doing lives not every day, but probably every other day. Rick asked me to stop by yesterday, but I was like, hey, I had so much socializing and so much so much sort of going on yesterday that I honestly wouldn't, I don't know if I can do that because it's a lot. So I sort of chose to, go to bed and stuff. Also, you know what I subjected myself to today? And those of you who are from the UK are probably going to be laughing your asses off. But so, as you might know, there was a fight between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk the other day, and Usyk won, and Fury said something along the lines of oh, I think I won that fight because I won most of the rounds, and they sided with Usyk because there is a war in his country, which I watched the entire fight from the beginning to the end. My dad is he used to do boxing when he was younger, so that's like a hobby of mine. It's a special thing between me and my dad. When I was a kid, I would watch all the boxing matches with him. So this is kind of what we did yesterday too. We were like texting each other as it was happening, and and like by any scorecard, Usyk won. And also, like, I genuinely, so this is my personal opinion, right? The world of boxing is super rigged. A lot of the times, the people that have been paid for win, unfortunately, and a lot of the times, the results of boxing are predetermined. I do believe that in this match, Fury was supposed to win because a lot of really wealthy people put a lot of money on him, and everybody expected him to win. And what makes me feel like this was supposed to be rigged, but Fury was doing so badly that they couldn't go through with it because that would be just obvious, was that the ref continuously kept not letting Usyk do a knockout or a knockdown. Well, he did have a one knockdown, but like he literally stopped him from knocking out Fury, and it was very, very obvious that the referee was just kind of like looking after Fury, which was so weird. And then the scorecard of the judges were like, oh, by split decision, Usyk won. Like, I watched the entire fight. And yeah, there were a couple of rounds where Fury was doing a better job, but like, in terms of technique, in terms of speed, in terms of footwork, in terms of landed punches, like Usyk was dominating that entire fight with an exception of a couple of rounds. But he was really like he was doing much better than Fury was. So, I mean, like it was a very strange thing. But anyways, so today I go on Netflix and I get recommended this show, At Home with the Furies. Oh, okay, Nick. Here's the thing. I was about to say that, right? And Nick is already making fun of me because I called him and I was like literally complaining about the show to him. But so there is a show, and it's called At Home with the Furies, and it is literally what you think it is. It's a reality TV show about the Fury family. And I was doing a lot of like work today and cleaning that where I could like have a TV show playing in the background. So and it's one season and 7 episodes. So literally throughout the day, I missed a lot, but it was like in the background. So I saw a bunch of this stuff, and it seems like Tyson Fury has like a huge thing for Usyk. At every single match that he's ever gone to where Usyk was present, he would call him out and challenge him to a fight. He watched every single fight of Usyk, and every single time that Usyk would win, which was literally every fight that he's watched at that point, he would just sit there and continuously shit on Usyk and say how bad of a boxer he is and how both of these like people are shit and how he would win even if he was it was one of him against both of them in the ring. And he continuously kept talking about how Usyk is like not even like he's not heavyweight, he's like midweight, and that he's just like not great, and like Tyson Fury would like really win really easily. And he would talk about how he's just like this little guy and like whatever, and that he like isn't scared of him, yet he's like consistently challenging him to fight. And uh so and in one of the episodes of this like show, what really struck me was when Fury said like, oh, but imagine I can't let him win from me, or win over me, because imagine what are they gonna say, this one man who defeated a mammoth that no one could. And that's kind of like the vibe that I got after the fight, which was literally like uh Tyson Fury not being able to accept his defeat. First of all, it was his first defeat in his career. Second of all, again, he continuously keeps saying, in even in his own show, like he has like a thing about Usyk. The show is from 2022. And like, so it's 2 years. Like, this man has been obsessing over like over Usyk for 2 years. And I mean, like, and I don't mean this like, listen, it's not like me sitting here and being like, ah, Tyson Fury is like such a shit person. Like, no. I mean, like, Tyson Fury does have like a really, he has a very loud mouth, and like one day and like normally that would get him in trouble. He's just such a like giant that it won't get him in trouble, because he will likely destroy any single person who would try to give him trouble, right? Like, no one's gonna try to like fight Tyson Fury. But he does have a really big mouth. He has a huge ego, and you can tell that from literally watching the show. And I think he just couldn't get over the fact that he kept saying like, oh, he's so much smaller than me, he's like a midweight, he's like 40, he's 40 kilograms. No, it was 18 kilograms, like 40 pounds lighter than Tyson Fury. And I think that Tyson Fury in his head didn't even have, like, in his head, it wasn't even a possibility that Usyk would win from him. So when it did happen, it's like this man lost his mind and was rambling anything, and tried to blame anything and anyone for this like loss and victory, just not himself, because I think in his head it just didn't compute. So yeah, Fury looked really out of shape, and I know out of shape. Well, no, I wouldn't say Fury is out of shape. So the thing is, like, Tyson Fury, like, a lot of people said that he looked out of shape, and that he commented on his like physical appearance and on his like loose skin and stuff like that. But he's had that, and he's had that before he came back out of retirement. In 2016, I think, or 15, after he had won from Klitschko, he like went on a downward spiral. So first of all, Tyson Fury is bipolar, so he already has mental health struggles, and he was in like a severe depressive, like dissociative state, and he was suicidal as well, and he was drinking a lot and doing a lot of drugs, and he gained like, I don't know, he was like 400 kilograms at some point, which is fucking insane. So he was really big. And so when he lost all of this weight, he lost it very quickly by exercising a lot and like dieting and stuff. And so the loose skin comes from that. So that's never gonna like go away anymore, unless he does like a tummy tuck or something like that. So that doesn't mean he's out of shape by any means. Like, he legitimately just will not get rid of that because he was 400 kilograms. So that particularly does not indicate him being out of shape. I wouldn't say he was out of shape. I think that he has been preparing for this fight. He's also delayed this fight twice, right? And yeah, I think that in fact he was very much in shape for this fight, for like the shape that he can be in at the moment. Yeah. I mean, I that's all I have to say. But like, I did not like people commenting on his loose skin. I did not like people commenting on his like body, because that's just not, like, that's not nice. And it's like, the reason why he has all of that is not because he's out of shape. It's like he's never gonna look the same way as like, Usyk does. simply because of all the loose skin that's left there after he had come back from being incredibly overweight. So yeah, wasn't he saying something about Usyk's earring? I don't know. I mean, Tyson Fury talks a lot of shit, honestly. It's like that's the thing. It's like he will say one nice thing and then he'll turn around and say something really shitty and then he'll turn around and say a nice thing. This is what I'm trying to say, is that he has a really big mouth, and had he not been like this giant with all of these like boxing titles, like that mouth would get him in a lot of trouble, but no one's realistically it isn't going to, because he is you know, no one's gonna try to do that to themselves. Like, I wouldn't fight Tyson Fury, if I was just like a random person. Um, but yeah. Uh, okay, so let me see the comments, because Usyk invited Fury to visit him in Ukraine, and Fury did the same with Usyk after the showboating. Both acted with dignity. Yeah, I mean, like, they acted with dignity to each other, right? But as in, like, Tyson Fury is the type of person where like he does badmouth people behind their back. Like, for instance, during the press conference, uh, uh, during the press conference, Heroim Slava, he was saying that, like, oh, we both received a beating. Like, Usyk was hospitalized with a broken jaw, which was just like a really crappy lie, because there is a plethora of footage of Usyk watching sorry, Barinchik's fight, which is who is now a lightweight champion, who won like I think it's a WBO title. Um, and like it's very evident that his jaw is not broken, because he's like yelling and screaming and like jumping and stuff like that. And like, if you have a broken jaw, you're not going to be able to do that. And especially if you went to the hospital right after the match, you would your jaw would likely be like sewn shut. So yeah, so it's just like a weird thing to say. It's basically like Fury trying to say that both Usyk did some damage to him and he did some damage to Usyk. He was like hospitalized with a broken jaw, which just like makes no sense. Like, what's the point of lying about it if it's easily verified? It's weird. Usyk was definitely the better man. The fight reminded me of the smaller but younger Mike Tyson when he defeated the larger Frank Bruno in the 80s. Well, it's also like the style, right? Like, Usyk doesn't call out people by like calling them you little shit and like stuff like that. I've seen a lot of Tyson Fury's like sort of the way that he calls out people for a fight. It's like he records stories, he records videos, like he will go to different like fights in general, like his little brother's fight, and then he'll see like a boxer in the audience and he'll be like, oh, you little shit, like you're a wanker, like you're a pussy, like, like oh, you're never gonna, you don't have the balls to like fight me. And it's like, Usyk doesn't do that. And like, trust me, I'm not a fan of Usyk as a person, because he was and arguably still is a little bit on the Russian Orthodox Church train. Like, he's like, in the beginning of the invasion of Crimea, he was asked whose is Crimea, and he says Crimea belongs to God. So that's like one of the answers that someone who follows like the Russian Orthodox Church will give, just to not say like, oh, it's Russian or like whatever. And he's like said some like brotherly nations bullshit before, although he's definitely gotten off of the trail in 2022, especially after Russians have like like come to his house. If you didn't know, like, his house near Kyiv was under occupation, and Russians literally like came in there and they like trashed everything and all of that. So I mean, like, I don't like necessarily like Usyk as a person. He's also very strange. Like, he's a weirdo. But so like, for me to defend him is really, it's not out of like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm a fan. Like, no, I really don't like him, although I can, as a person, although I can appreciate him as an athlete. For instance, like, my favorite boxer of all, like, my favorite boxer who's currently in action of all time was Lomachenko. And Lomachenko, unlike Usyk, did not get off the fucking Russian Orthodox Church train and still says that we're brotherly nations and that, like, Donetsk and Luhansk and Crimea belongs to God. And he keeps like preaching this bullshit. So he keeps preaching this bullshit, and yeah, it makes no sense. Kenta says Ryan Garcia would beat Usyk. Ryan Garcia is lightweight, featherweight category. he's not a heavyweight boxer. It's like literally Ryan Garcia would never be in the same ring with Usyk, and no, he would not beat him because it literally like these are two absolutely separate categories, and it just like these two people would never be boxing in the same ring because these are two different categories. There are plenty of lightweight boxers that could beat heavyweight boxers in terms of like their technique and the way that they can move and their footwork and the speed with which they can jab and stuff like that, because it's just a very different weight category. But also like no, he wouldn't be able to because Usyk is like twice, if not 2.5 times Ryan Garcia's weight. So one punch from Usyk in the head and Ryan Garcia would probably never get up. So yeah. Anyways, here is like we're getting into like a very long conversation about boxing. I wasn't joking when I said I really like boxing yesterday. And the reason why I chose not to go live when I was emotional over like, over the fight is because I knew this would happen and I would sit here for like 2 hours talking about this stuff. But anyways, Usyk won. Usyk won. It was a great fight. I absolutely like it was very very nice to watch because like normally Usyk fights people that are either the same weight as him or like kind of smaller. So I feel like he's usually that like giant presence that doesn't move very swiftly as opposed to his opponents. While here it was really nice to watch him because he did remind me of Lomachenko in that way. And I do not respect Lomachenko anymore because screw him. He believes in the Russian world, and the Russian Orthodox Church is more important to him than his country. So yeah, but that was honestly when that happened, it was like one of the sort of the more devastating sporting moments for me because again, Lomachenko was my favorite boxer, like currently active boxer, and it was like it sucked so much for me to know that like I don't want to watch any of his matches anymore, don't support him, and what he's doing is awful, and like literally um most of Ukraine literally stopped supporting him and stopped talking about him and stopped talking about like yeah, about everything. And I'm pretty sure he deleted his Instagram page because of the amount of like negative comments he was receiving. And he couldn't, block everybody. And like Ukrainians are incredibly mad at him. And I like fully support that because screw that. And he had a fight, I think a week or two ago, and he won the fight as per usual. And literally no one talked about it because no one cares. I watched him in 2020 or 21. It was Lomachenko versus Comey at Madison Square Gardens, and like that was such a good fight. Anyways, okay, fuck Lomachenko, he sucks. We do not claim him anymore, as Gen Z would say, and really, like he's made his position very clear, and so should we. And I no longer have a favorite boxer, so yeah. Didn't know boxers were so religious. Oh yeah, boxers like somehow are super religious. I mean, like a lot of military are also very religious. A lot of boxers are. I think it's because you kind of have to find something to look forward to, and like you want to find something that like looks after you. So like I think people in dangerous fields and in dangerous sports and in dangerous professions usually tend to turn to religion because they need like some sort of like a symbol of safety. So yeah. So yeah. Okay. Usyk's a big guy. He's 6'3" and weighed 223 for the fight. Heavyweight boxers have just gotten a lot bigger in the last couple decades. Fury's just huge, 6'9" and about 270 pounds. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like he makes Usyk look so small, but Usyk is 6'3". Also, like I cannot believe Tyson Fury is 35 years old. That man looks 55 and not a day younger. Yeah, Graham, I'm just saying, but obviously Fury is so tall, thus heavy, maybe blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is a conversation. I thought it was maybe when this is all over, you can become president of ESPN Ukraine, Yulia. Oh my God, no, I would not be doing that. In fairness to Lomachenko and Usyk, even though they said some weird things, they both joined the Territorial Defense Forces, right? Well, no, so Lomachenko joined the Territorial Defense Forces and then he started saying all of these weird things. And he only joined the Territorial Defense Forces for like a little bit. And then obviously he started prepping for fights. So he wasn't in there. And he started saying all of these things afterwards. And while Usyk sort of like got off the train very early and stopped saying all of this like stuff from the Russian Orthodox Church, he Lomachenko continued saying it and he continued like propagating it. Like his page was literally a propaganda of Russian Orthodox Church. Like it was bad. Like he was really, really trying to like put it out into the masses. Like Usyk, again, lots of questions towards him. I don't think he should be an authority on anything. And like a lot of people are like, oh, he's just doing it for PR. He's standing with Ukraine for PR. I mean, like I think that a lot will change in your mind when you come back to your house that has been occupied by Russians. And I do believe that he probably does not believe in the Russian world anymore. And like too little, too late, right? But at the same time, like he does bring a lot of like limelight to Ukraine, and that's good. It's just that no one should take him as an authority in anything other than sports, right? Because like his motives are questionable, his beliefs are questionable. We don't really know what he believes in. Lomachenko, however, yeah, he was literally like Russian Orthodox Church could have he did all of their PR work for free, literally through his page where he had millions of followers, and that was like disgusting. Maybe they stole his toilet. I do believe they probably did steal his toilet, but honestly, his house was like wrecked. Like the outside of his house was all like there were like trenches. They kind of like dug trenches in his backyard. It was like ridiculous. And also one of the neighbors apparently one of the neighbors apparently one of the neighbors of Usyk's told the Russians when they questioned him like that it was Usyk's house. And so obviously they took, they ramped up their shenanigans when they were there. So yeah. Anyways, you guys, we're going to start with the news. The news has been a little bit slow, but there have been a few things that are very interesting. Some things that leaked from Germany. Germany leaked that British troops are already training in Ukraine, and that didn't happen yesterday, but there is more to it. British defense minister said that Ukraine will receive 100 air defense missiles from London in May. Thank you. He also called on the allies to speed up the provision of military aid to Ukraine against the backdrop of Russia's offensive in the Kharkiv region. According to him, since the beginning of this month, Britain has handed over 80 air defense missiles to Ukraine, and another 20 should arrive by the beginning of June. Minister Shapps added that the cost of British aid to Ukraine in 2024 will be £3 billion. So actually, there is one comment that I do want to read from Nick over here, and that's Vladimir Klitschko. So first of all, we need to stop calling him Vladimir because his name is Volodymyr. It's a Ukrainian name. It's just that he would go by Vladimir because that was the Russian version of his name, but he's Volodymyr Klitschko, not Vladimir. Vladimir is a Russian name that doesn't exist in Ukraine, and he is Ukrainian. Volodymyr Klitschko brings a lot of limelight to Ukraine, but his voice shouldn't be considered representative of all Ukrainians. Putin's war, etc. Yeah, well, so there is the thing, right? Like, hi, Adam. There is the thing. Like, I think that these sports people, like these very famous sports people who talk on behalf of Ukraine or Ukrainians, like, it's great that they bring attention to Ukraine, but a lot of people take them as like an authority in terms of like political things. They're not, and I think that we shouldn't take them as authority, really, because yeah, I mean, Volodymyr Klitschko, like he spent most of his life in Germany, very close proximity to lots of Russians, and also like a lot of people. So his brother Vitaly is the mayor of Kyiv, and a lot of people take them both as big authorities in politics. But what people don't know, because Ukrainian media for some reason never brings that context to you guys is that most people absolutely despise Vitaly Klitschko, and like people in Kyiv absolutely hate him. Like no one takes him seriously. He won mayor because there was literally no one else, or no one, like not no one else, like there were people, but they were just horrendous. But there was literally no one better to vote for, and so it was like the lesser of all evils. But people absolutely cannot stand him. Like he has so little respect. It's not even funny. So yeah, and he's genuinely like he's a subject of like so many memes. Like people think that he's so stupid, and also like sometimes when you listen to him speak, you're just like, you suffered a lot of concussions during your career, haven't you? Any idea whether Ukraine will be getting its hands on more mobile AA gun systems or cheaper interceptors to better deal with low-end threats? I mean, so the interceptors, we were talking about that yesterday. There is a new British drone jamming system, and the UK didn't say yet if they're going to be like giving us, if they're going to be giving those to us to test them. But I think that that might be the case, because that was like not breaking news, but that was like quite big, quite large in the news. Not yesterday, but like the other day when I did the live. So the live before this, there is a new British technology that jams and intercepts drones. Some of the Ukrainian language often rolls off the tongue a bit, like our Welsh language does. Love it. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I live in London. I've had a letter today saying I've got to hand in all my missiles. Took them in this afternoon. Hope they help. Oh my god, that's so funny. It said that Ukraine don't release losses. EU and USA need to understand. Well, so this is not about the EU and the US. It's normal in a country that is being attacked to not release losses in order to not like demoralize the population. Though, to be honest, like they did say that our losses were somewhere around 50,000. And that was because people were believing that our losses were like much, much larger than that. Much larger than that. The introduction of NATO troops into Ukraine remains a possibility, as French President Emmanuel Macron was the first to openly suggest. However, former US Secretary of Defense and CIA Director Robert Gates advised against openly discussing this prospect during an appearance on CBS, as reported by Voice of America. I am concerned that our government is talking too much, as are some other governments. Sometimes it is better to do and not to say that you're doing it, Gates said. He noted that the topic of deploying NATO troops into Ukraine is causing significant concern both in the United States and Europe. Gates urged American politicians to better explain to voters the importance of Russia's war in Ukraine, emphasizing the historical consequences of ignoring international events, which later necessitated American military involvement and resulted in American casualties. So this is something that I was saying before, and that's that there is definitely a lot of discussion about NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine behind closed doors, but there is a reason that this is not being discussed in the public eye, and it shouldn't be. Like, I think Macron said that. Like, the thing is, Macron is not like the most like highly postulated politician, right? So if he felt like he could say that, then there were definitely discussions about it before that, because he wouldn't just like go out of his way and say that if he hasn't talked to like stronger politicians who appear stronger on the world scene. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I was saying that way before. I was saying like, well, but if he's saying that, people are like, oh, he's crazy, you know, like no one's gonna listen to him, and like he's just saying this thing, like blah blah. And it's like, no, he would not have said that if it wasn't for like discussions taking place behind the scenes where like other politicians who have a stronger presence on the world arena were discussing it with him. But that's the thing. It's like they should be discussing it behind closed doors. So it was good that he sort of said that to like kind of know like, oh, these discussions are happening, but at the same time, like they should not be happening in the public eye. So yeah. The French parliament has urged President Emmanuel Macron not to prohibit Ukraine from using French weapons to strike Russian territory, as reported by Le Figaro. Jean-Louis Bourlange, head of the Committee on Foreign Affairs of the National Assembly of France, called on the French authorities to follow the example of Great Britain, which has allowed the Ukrainian armed forces to strike Russia with its weapons. Thank you. Also, I forgot about this today completely. Thank you, Ozzy, for reminding me. We are at $4,550.53 for the drone for the HUR fundraiser, the thermal drone. If you'd like to contribute to the fundraiser, you can do so through these links on the screen on YouTube. And my Revolut is also the same as my Venmo, and I keep forgetting to mention Revolut. And if you are on TikTok, you can go to my link in bio and right under my profile picture, and that will bring you to all the links where you can donate. Frederick Blomqvist, Napoleon beat Russia in a war, so there is no reason Macron couldn't do the same. That's true, but also let's not take Napoleon as an example, because as we know, all of these things always end a little bit miserable. Also, that was probably so cringy. Oh, Dave, thank you. So we got our donation of $5 from Dave, which brings us to $4,555.53. Yulia, I think Western troops will be in Ukraine by 2025, and Lviv are stationed in the west to release Ukrainian soldiers from Western Ukraine and from west of Ukraine and to provide support. So you're partially correct there. There is a lot of truth to it, so we'll get there. President of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, died in a helicopter accident on the border with Azerbaijan, according to Mer. So people were like, oh my gosh, yay, it's good, whatever. No, so in Iran, the person who rules Iran is Ayatollah. So they had 8 president changes since the beginning of Ayatollah's reign. So their dictator is really not the president and really not the foreign minister. So nothing is really going to change, unfortunately. Ukraine's ambassador to the US, Oksana Markarova, hopes for bold decisions from the US in anticipation of much-needed Patriot air defense systems to protect against Russian air attacks. Taking into account Ukraine's experience in the war against the Russian Federation, the Czech army plans to provide each unit with FPV drones, Radio Prague International. According to the spokeswoman of the Army of the Czech Republic, Magda Dvorakova, the leadership of the armed forces intends to purchase hundreds of small FPV drones. Almost all combat units will be equipped with them, not only special forces and paratroopers. It is noted that over the next 3 years, intensive training of the Czech military in piloting UAVs, practicing methods of mass deployment, and the use of other drones will also be carried out. Both for combat attacks and for the protection of its own military equipment. So here is where we are at. So Germany has leaked information that there are British troops on the ground in Ukraine, training in Ukraine. So NATO troops are in Ukraine. And then some NATO countries are already training their military in Ukraine. Also, wait. $6.38 is just such a particular amount, $6.38, which brings us to $4,561.91. And there is no need to fear that this could involve the alliance in a war with Russia, said Prime Minister of Estonia Kaja Kallas in an interview with the Financial Times. I can't imagine that one of the instructors gets hurt. The countries that send their people will say, this is Article 5, let's bomb Russia. That's not how it works. This does not happen automatically. Therefore, these fears about sending troops to Ukraine for training, etc., are unfounded. Russian propaganda talks about war with NATO, so they don't need an excuse, no matter what we do on our side. If they want to attack, they attack. She also noted that the Allies need a clear vision of what exactly will be considered a victory for Ukraine in the war. Some say Ukrainians must not lose. Others say we must work for Ukraine and victory. This lack of a unified definition worries me, added the Prime Minister. She's actually very right, because there is not a unified idea of what Ukraine's victory looks like to the West. And they need to get to that unified idea. And there are a couple of countries who have their troops on the ground in Ukraine training, because unfortunately, Ukraine is the best training ground for a war right now. And that's the thing. Russia's fear of escalation like fear of escalation with Russia. It's sort of like Russia, if they want to attack, they'll attack. They don't need an excuse. So we got a $14 donation, and that brings us to $4,575.91. Sorry I'm late. Hello, Yulia in chat. Hi. The number of people killed as a result of the attack by the Russian Federation in the Kharkiv region has increased to 7. A 51-year-old man who was considered missing died. Divers found fragments of his body, parts of his body, the regional prosecutor's office reported. In Stepanohirsk, Zaporizhia region, a man born in 1960 died as a result of Russian shelling, the head of the Vasilivska Regional Military Administration reported. Croatia will take part in the Global Peace Summit in Switzerland, said President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky following a conversation with the Croatian Prime Minister. India will join the Global Peace Summit regarding Ukraine, according to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India will participate in all important summits that advance the agenda of global peace, security, and development. I mean, maybe stop buying gas and oil from Russia. that will help. So yeah. Here is also an interesting thing that I forgot to tell you about. The fight between Usyk and Fury. So before this fight, Usyk already held an IFO, IFB, IBF, IBO, and WBA and WBO titles. And hi Christina, and after winning from Fury, he became the 6th man ever to hold all 4 titles. So that's quite a big thing. So, when Fury says that he's like the best boxer on the planet and undefeated and all that, like, yeah. Usyk already had all these like titles beforehand, just FYI. Also, thank you, Lynn, with a $10 donation, which brings us to $4,585.91. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin opened the 22nd session of the Rammstein format and stated that since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation, the Allies have allocated more than $95 billion for security assistance to Ukraine. However, unfortunately, Russia allocates a lot more money than that to their military-industrial complex and has literally been operating in the mode of war. So they are in the wartime economy. James, you can donate in my link in bio. There is my Venmo and my PayPal. Also, my Revolut is the same as my Venmo. So if you go to my page on TikTok and go into my link in bio, which is right under my profile picture, you will find all of the links there. And for someone who's asking on YouTube, what's the fundraising for? It's for a thermal DJI Mavic 3 Pro drone for an HUR unit. These drones names, like, oh my god, it took me so long to be able to pronounce that in one sentence without stomping. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that the coming weeks and months will be critical for Ukraine. I mean, yeah, we all know that, and it's good for people to keep hi Naomi. It's good for people to keep reminding us about that and reminding the world about that, but at the same time, everybody does know. And that's been clear. I think, it's been critical for Ukraine in the past couple of months, and it will be critical for Ukraine in the next couple of months. And it's great. It would have been way more critical if if Ukraine didn't receive aid. So from now, all of the countries just need to really, really step up help because it is in fact critical, and the battlefield can turn. Also, I just received a $5 donation, and that brings us to $4,590.91. Thank you. Um, I don't know who to thank because it was a business name, and I don't want to, to, I guess, blast someone's business. Uh, okay, today's main topic at the Ramstein format meeting is strengthening Ukraine's anti-aircraft defense. I mean, we have talked about this. Oh, James, thank you for subscribing to the live feature. I really, really appreciate that, and that really does help. We've been talking about this. Of course, Ramstein would be and is concentrated on Ukraine's air defense because, and I mentioned this every live, Kharkiv and Odessa really, really need updated air defense. For Odessa, air defense will really change a lot. For Kharkiv, air defense will not change that much because Kharkiv is like 30 kilometers from the Russian border. But when I say will not change that much, I don't necessarily mean it that way, because it will give Ukraine a chance. It will give Kharkiv a fighting chance, because newer, better air defense batteries will at least give them the ability to potentially take down some of the missiles, while right now they really can't do that because missiles hit and then the air raid starts, because literally people have under a minute to get to the bomb shelter. In Odessa, it'll change the situation dramatically. And I mean dramatically, because they'll be able to intercept way more missiles and drones than they do right now, and that will really save a lot of lives. The fundraiser is at $4,590.91. Oh, goal 5,500. So we are less than 1,000 away. U.S. will provide assistance to Ukraine until Russia's withdrawal from its territory. See, that's a nicer goal. That's a more defined goal, but it's not unified, because that's not what other countries are saying, right? So there is not like a unanimous goal, and there is not like a unanimous understanding that Ukraine's victory is Russia's withdrawal of troops. So it would be good if all of our partners came out and said the same thing. USA does not plan to send its military instructors to Ukraine. Of course. I mean, they will do so in 8 months to a year, because the US always says no, and then it takes them way too late to then finally start doing the same thing as everybody else is doing. NATO countries support Germany's initiative to strengthen Ukraine's air defense systems. Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, and Canada have promised financial support. In turn, Lithuania, Romania, the US, Spain, France, and Great Britain expressed their intention to help Kyiv with missiles, reports Deutsche Welle. Earlier, the German Ministry of Defense announced the need for an additional allocation of 3.8 billion euros for military support to Ukraine, in addition to the 7.1 billion euros allocated to help Kyiv in the 2024 budget. The spending is to be submitted to the German parliament for approval in June. Finance Minister Christian Lindner has already agreed to the Bundeswehr's initiative, noting that Germany should increase arms deliveries to Ukraine. Thank you, Truthful, and hi. I genuinely do think that that Germany is going to, Rheinmetall in particular, is going to start producing a lot more orders for Ukraine, and they're going to pick up the initiative, because they're working at I believe they said at half capacity, because there are not enough orders. So I think they're going to sort of donate that production capacity to Ukraine. Patriots literally save lives and protect families and children. I can't believe the hesitance to send them to Ukraine. Yeah, I don't understand. This is not even missiles, right? These are not long range missiles. I don't understand. The US has so many Patriots, and they're just not sending them to us. More DACA at the front would be nice. We convinced ourselves that AA guns were obsolete. The drones and cheap cruise missiles happened. Yeah, exactly. Hi Cheryl. Um, Hi everybody. Also, you guys, unfortunately, this is the end of the live. It is almost 1 a.m., 3 minutes to 1 a.m. These are all the news, and we did spend like good 25 minutes sort of like talking about random stuff. Boxing, unfortunately. Sorry for those of you who are not interested in boxing. I'm so sorry for subjecting you to like 20 minutes of that. But yeah. So yeah. Um thank you all for watching. Thank you all for Oh, wait, something. Um oh, Michael, thank you. A $50 donation, which brings us to $4,640.91. Good boxing commentary attracting a new audience. Oh my gosh. Is it true Tyson Fury will donate 1 million pounds to Ukraine from his a fee for the fight with Alexander Usyk? So he did say that he will do that. There has been no follow up on that since. Like I'm not, I'm not a fortune teller, so I can't tell you. I can't tell you if he will do that. Tyson Fury, like I want to believe that he will do it. I do question it, not because I'm like, oh, he's a bad man or like whatever. It's just because Tyson Fury says a lot of things and he changes his mind a lot of the times. So it's like I want to believe that he'll do that, but I really don't know because I don't even know if he remembers saying that, to be honest. And that's the thing. It's just like Tyson Fury says so many things and he like changes his mind every 15 minutes and he literally says that about himself as well and he attributes that to his bipolar disorder. Um in my I mean, it's a range, it's a spectrum, it's different for everyone. In my like experience of having a degree in psychology, that's not necessarily how bipolar works. Like mood swings, sure, but not like, anyways. But yeah, he is known to say things and then change his mind and he just kind of like says things that contradict each other. So not holding my breath for it. Um and some growlers to jam Russian missile plants. He probably said it in the very low voice. If I win, I donate. Yeah, like fine print. I read somewhere that Norway has an extra income of 170 billion USD annually from helping out EU with gas instead of the Muscovite pipelines. I think we could share more of that with Ukraine. That's very interesting. I'm going to look into it. And then Ukraine needs all the components to be successful F-16 Warthogs. And ground components. Huh. Wait. There was a buy me a coffee that I just noticed. Home. Aw, okay. There is also $5 is a donation through Buy Me a Coffee, which brings us to $4,645.91. Thank you. Okay. So, all right, you guys, I gotta go and I will see you later. Or I mean tomorrow. Okay, bye. Good night. Thank you. Okay. Good night, you guys. Night, night.